All right, let's do it. The Cleveland Browns Daily. I am merely Bo. He is the great Z. What can we talk about? What you had here?
Where what?
It looked like you had a little pasta fajoule soup or a minestrone.
It's a minestrone.
Minestrone.
Yeah, it's a little minestrone.
And then what do you got on the main plate there?
Just had a little. I made an amalgamation: some quinoa, some chili, some
it
cauliflower.
Fish? Is that a fish?
No, that's a chicken. That's a chicken breast.
Is it slightly breaded or is it grilled?
No, I think it maybe has some turmeric on it. Would be my guess.
A little bit of turmeric on the
I
chicken
don't know. It's
breast.
quite yellow.
Yeah, it is. It is. That's why I thought maybe it was some sort of a breaded fish.
Mm-hmm. No,
not.
That's not really my bag, baby.
You don't like a breaded fish? You like it naked?
Well, yeah. Fish is not where I'm going first up. Fish is down the list.
Do you think it's on the top of the list for anybody?
Some people really do like fish. I bet for a pescatarian it would be on the top of the list.
A pescatarian? Good job out of you on that one.
Yeah.
My father-in-law.
That's number one draft pick?
Right now. Salmon and then 2 buckets of Bud Light for dinner.
Yikes.
I'm not kidding. He's lost
there
84 pounds.
Yeah, the thinking.
I don't know what's going on.
Well, that
there,
would do it. That's awesome. Good job out of him.
Yeah.
I like ahi tuna.
Love ahi
I like
tuna.
Chilean sea bass.
Yeah, you can talk me into that.
And then maybe a swordfish, maybe a halibut. But, I mean, this is not a world that I live in very often.
No, I like a hogfish, which is very good. You only have in Florida, or that's the only place I've had it. Cobia, I enjoy too. I like a grouper if it's fresh.
Okay.
But I don't know that any of those. If you go into a white tablecloth and there are steaks as options, that's where I'm going. I'm going to the meats, baby.
Yeah,
I like
right.
the meats.
That's right.
That's the way it goes. What could you tell me? We had an availability today.
We did. I don't know that I can tell you anything. It was an availability that I think didn't provide more questions than answers. I think the questions that were questions remain the questions. And that is, will Deshaun Watson play this week? I don't know.
Apparently he doesn't either.
I think that there is optimism that he will play this week. As I said on Monday, I think that would be a stated goal. I just don't know if that's going to happen, or if we're going to have P.J. Walker back out there again, getting it done for the Cleveland Browns, trying to win his second consecutive start. So as this week unfolds, it will become more clear. What I do know is that the Browns will be taking the best defense in modern NFL history, Indianapolis, and if we can't play full complementary football, we won't. If we can, we will. And it depends, we'll find out, I guess, as the week goes on. I think we will play it later on when Deshaun talked, and it was great to see him. I talked with him. He is very hopeful that he can get to go, and it's just going to be kind of see as he goes through things this week, how does it respond? How does his shoulder respond? We did hear about micro tears, that there are micro tears of his rotator cuff.
I don't even know what any of that means. None of it sounds good. I just don't know what it means.
I think what it means is that there are clearly tears that maybe would not show up as a big tear on like an MRI, but that are affecting the functionality of the shoulder.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think that, in retrospect, now that you have some weeks now on this, but is practice happening now? I mean, I'm coming in hot. Bagley's got two lanes
so
to one.
Everything's backed up a little bit. This is with the victory Monday and Tuesday, the first one of the year of these.
I see.
Everything's backed up a little bit. Availability was backed up. Practice isn't set to go till like 2:00 now.
Okay, yeah. That's a tough beat, by the way, to get off the freeway and go all of the traffic to 2 lanes and then to one at one light. I mean,
it's not
ideal. I did not enjoy that today, so it's coming in
up?
hot. Yeah, coming in a little hot.
You might be better off going.
Oh, I will. Now I will. Knowing what I know now, I would make the first right.
Get off it.
And
exactly.
Sneak back is what I'll do.
Come around the side hatch.
That's going to be the plan tomorrow if it's still the case. So I just think the reason that this is confusing and puzzling and head-scratching after so many weeks now is the original plan all the way back to Tennessee, or to Baltimore rather, that the plan was he was going to play that Sunday. So that is, by the time we play, what is that, 3 weeks removed?
Yeah.
By the time we play against the Colts this Sunday?
Yeah.
So
and 4 weeks removed from the sustaining of the injury.
Correct. So
against Tennessee.
You're talking about a month now since the injury. So he hasn't practiced now since then, right? Since the Tennessee game?
It honestly wasn't even clear if he was going to practice today. Right, Gibbe? I was doing interviews at the same time that he was speaking, but I believe that it is also true that he did not say whether or not he was going to practice today.
TBD.
Yeah. So if he doesn't practice, I think what you're looking for from a Browns fan perspective, and it seems like we're all kind of in this together in terms of trying to figure out, and even Deshaun trying to figure out when he's going to be able to go.
Yeah.
I think what you're looking for is limited in practice, right?
Take a limited.
You'd
would
kill
bring
for
me
a limited. You'd
kill
kill
for a limited.
for something like that. But if you have a DNP and you get a DNP tomorrow, then I think we're at the point where you have to question, like, if he only practices once, can he play in an NFL game after not throwing for a month?
Yes.
I don't know if he can. I mean, you say yes emphatically.
I say yes.
But he's better than the options that you have, and PJ
Sure.
did admirable, but at the same time, it's like there's a good deal of rust that's going to need to be knocked off. It's been a long time.
I mean,
It's been a month, buddy.
yeah. I would be less concerned. I mean, look, we're talking about in the games that he has not played, we have thrown 5 interceptions in 2 games. Is he going to be
No
better
question.
than that? Yeah,
Yeah.
he will be.
It's just going to take a ramp up here to get him back to.
You'd love to see him
we just
do something today, even if it's on his own, something today with the team tomorrow, go on Friday, and then be ready to go. That would be what you'd like to see, and then I'd feel very good about it.
Yeah, I'm saying if it goes the other way, and you have
If he doesn't
DNPs
practice?
all the way to Saturday or Friday. Friday will be the one you really pay attention to. If you have a DNP on Friday, then it's not looking positive. And then honestly, if you just do it on Saturday, then what?
He was at Fred Greetham asked him directly, "Do you think you'll play on Sunday?" And he said, "I think so." So let's just kind of see how this goes over the next few days. I don't think we need to jump to any conclusions. We don't need to you can leave your jump to conclusions, Matt, in the closet.
It's a great idea.
It was a great idea. Just jump
right there
to conclusions. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see as it unfolds. You really, really, really want to get on a roll. You really want to get this one. You want to get to 4-2. 4-2 puts this season in a totally different spot. And so I think this is a very important game. Number one, to show that we can win. The great Brad Mellon. Look at him. Look at the great
Champion.
Brad Mellon.
I like he's got the cutoffs now. I like that.
Yeah,
he's
I like
going
that too.
That's a nice look.
Belichickian.
Very Belichickian. Feels like you just take a fabric scissor and he just
did it.
Right.
Yeah.
Just crushed it. I like that look. It's a good look on him.
Here's the thing that we've got to get over.
Okay.
The Browns are 3-13 following a win since the start of the 2021 season.
That's not great.
Well, you can't be a team of consequence under those auspices.
No, you cannot.
So the Browns have not won back-to-back games since Week 12 and 13 of 2022, which was the Tampa Bay overtime win in Tom Brady's final game at Cleveland Browns Stadium, and then Deshaun Watson's first start down in Houston. You have got to be able to stack wins. 3-13 following a win and by the way, that's the worst record in the NFL following a win since 2021. We have got to figure out a way to stack wins. And so obviously you want to do that at full strength or as close as you can be to do it. This is a team in Indianapolis Colts. As I've now watched them, I've gone through their very extensive, and kudos to them, media guide. But this is a team that is quite beatable for the Cleveland Browns, and they've got to go out there and handle their business. This is a very important game to win.
It's a must-win if you're going to be a consequential team. If
That's
you're going to
right.
make the playoffs, if you're going to be a team that is going to make a little bit of noise,
Yes,
then this is a must-win. That's the way that it got to go. They're not good.
Correct.
They're not as they are right now. They just got the news today. Their quarterback's going to have season-ending surgery, Anthony Richardson. So he's done for the year. So it'll be Minshew mania. You've gone over great length. Minshew's strengths and his weaknesses. His weaknesses are considerable when you have time to prepare for him, when you get him off his spot, and when you're playing man defense. So all of those things we do well.
Yes, all of them we do well. Don't let him throw an easy first read. He's throwing the ball. He's averaging 5 yards in the air per attempt this year. That's like 2 yards below his career average. And you could see it. Once the Jags took away that first read, he was toast in that game. He threw 3 picks. He threw about 6 that should have been picked. I mean, they dropped some easy ones. They had one that was called back on a defensive offsides. I mean, they had a lot there. And for the Colts, Grover Stewart, their nose tackle, who's been very good next to DeForest Buckner, he is suspended for 6 games for violating the league's substance abuse policy. He's considered one of the better interior run defenders in the league. And look, we don't know the status of our quarterback, so this is going to be a game where we're going to have success on the ground like we did last week.
Yep.
That's a big loss for them. That's a very big loss for them.
You don't hear a Grover very often.
No, Grover.
It's very good. Is that Sesame Street Grover?
Grover, yeah, for sure. Of course.
I can't remember if it was Sesame Street or it was the Muppets that
Yeah.
had Grover. Yeah, Grover's it's solid. Very, very good out of that. We have some other news. Michael Dunn placed on IR yesterday, played in Sunday's game through a calf injury. And you mentioned the Grover Stewart news. Alec Pierce did not practice today. Head coach Shane Steichen saying that we'll see if Braden Smith plays their starting right tackle on Sunday as well.
If he does not, it would be Blake Freeland, the fourth-round rookie out of BYU, who's made 3 starts for this team, 2 at left tackle, 1 at right tackle. He has given up a team-high 13 pressures, 1 sack last week against the Jags, who have Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker, so they've got some talented edge. Both tackles gave up a sack and 6 pressures. So, and that's with Bernard Ryman, the Austrian Oak. He's from Austria. I didn't know that. Didn't play football until he
Is that
found
a
out
real
at
nickname,
club.
or did you just drop that?
Well, the Austrian Oak is Arnold.
Oh, I did not know that. That was his name. Was
Oh,
the
yeah. The Austrian
I
Oak.
haven't seen that doc yet.
Yeah.
That's the one I know that you told me I got to watch.
Gotta watch it.
I got to see the
Even if
Arnold
you
doc.
only watch, there's 3 parts to it.
Yeah.
They're all good. The first is strictly about him as a bodybuilder and like that life.
Yeah.
The second one is about all of his movies and especially the comedies, which are hysterical. And then the third's about his political career, which his,
Rank them. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, first 2 you got to see, and then
Third is
It's
interesting.
fine.
It's still
It's fine.
interesting.
Yeah, but it's
and he
not-
has to get cathartic about his transgressions and
no, I don't want that.
no. The first 2 are bodybuilding. One is fairly pure joy, and just like he's such an animal. But you got to watch all 3 because at the end they tie it up and he comes back to you got to watch all 3. Nonetheless, yes, watch it. But yeah, the Austrian Oak, that was his nickname.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's very, very good. This is pretty interesting, including the win over Tennessee this season. Stefanski 7-0 against the AFC
That's
South.
right. Never lost.
Never lost.
He beats the AFC South on every level.
Every level.
Every level.
Did you see Irv waving at Jimmy Johnson?
It's great. From like 3 suites over. I've been in that stadium. There's no way in the world, no matter what you're doing, that you could possibly hear what somebody's saying to you from 2 or 3 suites
2 or
away.
3 suites
It's
over.
impossible.
It's not stopping Irv.
No.
Not
And
stopping
Jimmy
Irv.
Johnson's up there. He might be rocking here. We don't know if he's got hearing aids. He's a man. He's an older man.
He has to
old
be in his
gentleman.
80s, doesn't he? At this point?
So he's probably is.
Same age as Jarrett.
And those things can't focus in, as I know. I had first-hand experience. By the way, happy birthday to Pedro.
The actual.
The actual birthday today, October the 18th, 1950, which puts him in at 73 today for the great Pedro. So,
Jimmy Johnson's 80.
On
Yeah.
the dot.
Yeah,
On
really
the
good.
dot,
Really good.
8-0. Yeah.
do you know what else happens today?
Uh,
Today is
Let's go.
also the 15th and a half birthday of Art Andrea.
15th and a half.
Yes, and the reason that's
Do you
notable
celebrate?
is
I was going to say, there must be something notable for that. 15 and a half.
she gets her driver's permit today.
Wait, your kid's driving?
You can drive at 15 and a half in Ohio.
with an adult in the car. Yeah.
Woo!
Well, first of all, I'm sure you're terrified about certain things and just her being unleashed on the society and then society unleashing to
Well,
her.
that
on
won't
the
happen
driving
until
side.
April, a full unleashing. This is
Yeah, but so now you'll be in the mix. But there's probably going to be sometimes when she cheats it, right? I don't think she's always going to have a parent in the car. I know I didn't. Back in those
I
days.
believe
Very
that you
different
are
out
in a
west,
very
though.
different
gonna say,
environment.
you could-
Yeah.
You could drive at like 10 in Montana.
The thing is, and I know this 'cause I was just talking to one of my buddies whose kid is in the same
Farm
boat,
equipment, like
that if
age
you
10.
get caught driving in this period, like you don't get your license until you're like 20.
Oh my
So,
God, 20!
yeah.
It's very quite strict.
Quite strict.
Okay, all right. So this will be you doing a lot of this. Now you have a car that can drive itself.
Yes.
How will you approach that with her?
I think we're gonna stick on the streets for now. I don't know that we're gonna get.
Well, you can do that.
Or go freeway-ish immediately. Although she could use that, but that's not helping her in her
Well, it keeps her at a certain pace
pace and
navigational
straightness.
beacons.
That's right.
Which is important.
I think, fortunately, the car that you and I enjoy is as similar to driving a golf cart as exists in the automobile world.
Correct. Yeah.
So she has got tons of golf
Tons
cart
of golf court experience. Yeah.
So this, I think, I'm hoping that it's going to translate. Like today, there's talk of having when I pick him up today of having her make the drive home, which I am
has
quite
she
nervous
done
about.
driver's ed?
Yeah. So she's got to go.
Has that happened
Yep,
already?
Yep. And it's all just a coursework now at this point.
Okay, so let me get this straight. So you go coursework.
Yep.
Has she done like the driving around with somebody?
No, that doesn't happen.
The teacher?
That doesn't happen until you have to be.
Hold on a second.
You have to have your
Wait,
permit to be a student driver.
Hold on just a second. You're telling me, so it's the opposite out west. So you'd go through, you do the coursework, then you do driver's ed, then you get the permit, then you get the license.
Oh no, it's
That's the way it works out there.
It's coursework.
Coursework,
Like you have to
permit.
pass a test.
Yeah. But that's
to get
honestly
to
like
get the permit.
Let's be real honest. As people who have driven a lot and have a largely good record of it,
Sure.
the written thing is almost completely nonsensical.
No.
Like the amount of distance I got to stop before a railroad
Or like,
crossing.
what do you do in a roundabout?
Yeah.
Or what's
when
the
I
sign
saw,
mean?
I mean, all of it is just it's the application, the actual
It's
driving.
the application.
That's the part. I was terrified when I moved to this state, and they said you have to pass a test before we'll give you an Ohio license.
Oh yeah,
Because when I went from Montana, Florida, nothing. Here you go. Away you go.
Well,
Wish you all the luck in the
it's
world.
the same thing in Illinois.
Yeah. So then I come here, and it's like, oh yeah, you got to pass a written test.
come again?
I had no clue. I was terrified. I'm like, I'm not going to be able to drive.
Hold on, but and like to pass the test, like you've got to get like 46, 47 out of 50, which
You have to
in
get
the
an A.
grand scheme of things, you're like, I can do that. Like, come on, it's not that difficult.
No,
But then you're like, there's no room for error if I screw something up and have a mind freeze.
100%.
Don't you think if the three of us went and took that test without doing any studying for it whatsoever,
Yeah.
the likelihood of us getting a 90% on knowing every road sign and this, that, I don't think it would be very high.
Well, I did it, so it wasn't that hard. But I was nervous going into it.
Yeah.
That would be the case. I think out of 50, I got like 47 or 48.
Yeah,
So it was fine.
like you get in your own
fine.
head though. You start,
But you start
about,
thinking like, oh my God, what is? I don't remember what I did in driver's ed.
Yeah.
When I was 14,
Yeah, I don't remember this.
Montana, we had driver's ed at 14. But I want to say at 12, you could drive farm vehicles, like on the roads, which it feels like that would be inverted. But instead, that's the way that it was. There were so many kids needed to help with the agricultural stuff that's how it went. So I think it's odd to me. I would rather her written examination, then driver's ed on the roads with a professional driver who's got like the side brake and all of that before hopping in with mom and dad and driving Boods and you guys around.
I'm more intrigued about the fact that
And yet that's your reality.
we're 6 months away from a Sweet 16 party that's going to
Oh,
put
my
Z in the
God.
poorhouse.
Oh, you're gonna get this as the showcase.
I think she's had a bat mitzvah.
But I think
I
don't you
think
stack another one?
No, you don't.
Oh yeah, it's a
No.
Sweet 16.
No, you don't.
No.
Okay,
I think Sweet 16's a big deal.
it's a big deal.
That's
Trust
okay.
me.
Very
You guys,
big deal.
you guys,
Very big deal. Luckily for me, with the boys, there will be none of that.
No.
No, I don't have to worry about any of those things. Dustin Hopkins names AFC Special Teams Player of the Week, and very much so. Converted 4 field goals, including the game winner in the game on Sunday. It's his 5th career Special Teams Player of the Week award. 3 in the AFC, 3 in the NFC, 2 in the AFC. 12 of 14 on field goals. All of the Pats. It's so nice having him and just being like nothing to worry about. Watch this
it's
sucker
wonderful.
bomb
Wonderful.
down the middle.
Yes.
That's the way that goes. So, in terms of today's program, you will hear from Deshaun Watson coming up in the 2 o'clock hour. Coach will be at the podium around 1:45-ish.
140.
1:40-ish. Okay,
Yeah,
we
we've
will.
been early today on everything.
All right,
so
very good, very good. We will go around the league coming up next. We're off and running on a First Friday. Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet, sports betting partner, your Cleveland Browns, now live in Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. And be sure to check out the Browns' social media channels daily to play the Browns digital scratch-off game for your chance to win club seats and other great prizes presented by the Ohio Lottery, the official lottery of your Cleveland Browns. As we go around the league, the Eagles are signing former Falcons and Bucs wide receiver Julio Jones to the practice squad. There was a time where he was about as dominant as could be. It's just been a long time now.
For a long time, he was the NFL's
was that
leader in receiving yards per game, like in a career.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was elite. A.J. Brown loves him. Apparently, A.J. Brown just wants him to be there. That's why this is happening.
Oh, really?
A.J.
Like
Brown
he just wants
wanted him to come to
his
Tennessee
hero or whatever?
Yeah, maybe he wants him.
Well, he did go to Tennessee, didn't he?
Who?
Yeah, Julio played in Tennessee, right?
Yeah, he went to Tennessee with A.J. Brown.
Oh, and then now
A.J. Brown is saying,
that's right. I forgot.
I want him here.
He's so he was such an enormous deal in Atlanta.
I know,
and then
you hate when you hear
hate
that.
when it goes.
Go to Tennessee for he was in Tampa with Tom Brady for a second.
Yeah, and just lost it. Yeah,
Well,
it's always remarkable to me when you think about like great players on other teams, like the amount of teams Jerry Rice played for at the end. I mean, he had a stint in Seattle that I remember.
He was
well.
great with the Raiders.
Wasn't he with Denver?
He was great with the Raiders.
He was great with the Raiders. Yeah, and he was on there. Wasn't he on their team that got to the Super Bowl with Tim Brown? Him and Tim Brown, very very effective with them. And then I think he ended up
the team that lost to
Tampa. Yeah, Brad Johnson.
Oh God.
Oh my God.
What
Just
are we
an
doing?
unbuttoned
What are we doing? The sunglasses
the whole way
What
through.
are we doing? A monk strap?
Oh my
It's
gosh.
Wednesday. It's First Friday. It's a
First
Wednesday.
Friday. Oh, he's going to enjoy himself.
It's a Wednesday.
So, by the way, is this the last good day? Are we willing to say that?
Next Wednesday, we're pushing 70.
Come on.
Nope.
Let's go. So we got this one and
Next week, there's a couple.
another.
Because tomorrow it's supposed to rain again for the next 4 days.
yeah, I'm worried that I'm going to lose my fall to rain. It feels like we've had like 2 weeks of rain.
Yeah, but we're supposed to have 3 or 4 days next week where
Okay.
we're good in the upper 60s, pushing 70.
Oh, that's a win for sure. Jalen Ramsey returns to camp in Miami after suffering that knee injury all the way back in camp, so he will return for them today. This was interesting. The agenda for Tuesday's league meetings include a proposal to ban in-person interviews with coaching candidates employed by other teams until after the divisional round. The NFL announced the proposal has been approved on Tuesday. Coaches who are unemployed or at the college level can be interviewed at any time, so that will help there. The most interesting thing that I came out of this was the trying to find a universal service to play on. So this is something the players have talked about a lot with the grass versus the turf, and one of the things that they are one of the focuses we've seen is, then they talked about this at the league meetings, was how do we get one surface so the players can prepare for one surface no matter where they play.
Well, the answer to that's gonna be grass.
Well, the answer to that, but can it be? Like, are some of these domes built to do it?
Anybody can do it.
I know you can do it. It's at great cost. Real Madrid, I've shown you that video, what they're
right.
doing, so you can do it. These teams make a lot of money. They ought to be able to, but I'm wondering, like, I'm thinking of the Superdome, for example, which is a building that's built in the 80s. Like, can you grow grass in there? I'm not talking about the lighting. You can do the lighting.
Sure.
I mean, the Haslams do it down at the Crew Stadium that they play at down there, where there's the way that they built it, there's not sunlight on the grass all the time, so they have grow lamps.
Yep.
That grow. So you can do it that way. I just don't know, like in a place like the Superdome, I don't know how that's done.
And the
Neither
league
Agronomist
makes enough
done.
money that the league can retrofit. Now the question would be in New Orleans, how long are they staying in that building anyway? I mean, that building has been there for a great many years.
That building is, I would say the born on date on the Superdome is the late 70s.
70s, yeah. Yeah, that feels right. Probably around a similar time to like the Pontiac Silverdome.
It's
the
really
original
remarkable.
Hoosier Dome, the Astrodome.
For sure.
It's of that ilk.
It's amazing that it's still used.
Given its history and everything that's happened in that building, yes. Stupefying.
Griff says 1975 for the Super Bowl.
75?
Yeah.
Before I was born.
Same. All of us. My God. Really? That is wild. That's a remarkable thing. So you're coming up on 50 years of the Superdome. 50 years in an indoor facility? 50 years in something that isn't Wrigley or Fenway
It's wild.
Yeah.
is impossible. What do you got? Go ahead.
Swag.
What do you say? Give it to me.
Said just me and my buddy Oliver Peoples.
Same.
Yeah, I know.
That's what I roll with.
Unbelievable.
Those are mine. Yeah.
And then
they're great.
and then he tagged it with No problem.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's the problem there is though is the only way that a stadium is going to get built is if the Benson family pays for it. There's not going to be any public money for a new Saints stadium.
No.
None.
Well, you mentioned the whole turf grass discussion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was the stuff coming out yesterday that SoFi, I guess, is not going to be a site for the World Cup.
And is that because of the turf?
They don't want it. They don't want it.
Kroenke refuses to adjust or change things up to the level that they want. So they're not. SoFi reportedly is not going to be a host for World Cup.
Well, that's fine. It'd be better in the Rose Bowl anyway.
That's what immediately everybody says.
Yeah, because you get the Rose Bowl is a much better venue than SoFi for that type of thing.
For
the
anything.
World Cup, yeah, and probably for anything for football too.
No.
Yes.
Yeah,
That stadium
for
is
football, it's pretty. Rose
awesome.
Bowls. Rose Bowls is if God said, "Here's where you should play football." That's what the Rose
I think
Bowl
SoFi
is.
is great for WrestleMania. I'd go there again gladly.
That's not a football game.
Sweet. No, you said for anything. You said
I
football
meant-
or anything.
Well, that's true. That's true. Anything. Yeah. Okay. WrestleMania at the Rose
T
Bowl might
Swift
not work.
supposedly electric there at SoFi Stadium.
Yeah, I'm sure that she is. But anyway, yeah, I think that bears watching. Like, what does that look like? Is if you try to have grass everywhere? Because Goodell isn't ready even to admit that grass is safer.
Well, I mean, I feel like science has shown that on some level. So with the coach interview thing,
Yeah.
this is what I don't understand. They can ban in-person interviews with coaching candidates employed by other teams until after the divisional round. What if you're not in the playoffs? If you're not that how many coaching candidates are getting interviewed off of teams that aren't in the playoffs, but if you're a candidate on a team that isn't in the playoffs, you should be able to be interviewed as soon as your season ends.
Of course.
And maybe that is the wording, but and if you're in the playoffs, you can't be interviewed till your season's over. You've put too much time in, too many hours, too many people depend on you being 100% locked in to go have a coaching interview the week of the
I'm
AFC
gonna tell you,
Championship game.
There's an easy fix to all of this.
Insane.
It's an easy fix. No coaching hires until after the Super Bowl.
I don't mind unless, but
No, period.
because then that wouldn't be. But
Then-
the teams
No,
in the Super
that's
Bowl
it.
aren't hiring coaches.
That's full stop, though.
I'm fine with it.
When that's done, the league year in terms of hiring takes place then. Now, all that can happen behind closed doors, and there'll be wink deals left and right. I understand it. It's the same problem that happens in college football, which is why they added this transfer window, because coaches were interviewing for jobs while their season was still going on. Can't have it.
No, can't have it. I'm with you. I think the notion that somebody does an interview at any point in the playoffs when they're still playing is crazy. You know how much time it would
can't
take
do that.
to prep for a coaching interview to try to become a head coach in the NFL?
No.
The energy, the time,
Just
the
wait.
focus, the dedication. You got a game.
Yeah, just wait. Just wait. Everybody wait.
The proposal prohibits clubs from conducting in-person head coach interviews with candidates who are employed by other NFL clubs until after the conclusion of all divisional playoff games.
Well, that's a
Yeah.
start, but I think even just push it further, because people always want to hire the Super Bowl coordinators. So just push it all back until after that, and then you're safe. That's probably the way that's the only way to make it totally right. All right, what do we got here? Oh yeah, coming up next we got Deshaun. Oh no, we got Coach.
Kyler Murray activated off the PUP list.
Wow, that's
Wow.
surprising to me. I can't
Are they
believe
gonna
they're
play
going to
him?
play him. I
I
cannot
don't know.
believe they're going
Same
to
with
play him.
Buda Baker.
For a team of injury lawyers dedicated to every client every day, call 1-800-ELK Ohio. Elk & Oak's proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. Coach Stefanski will be at the podium when we come back. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet. Sports betting partner, your Cleveland Browns, now live in Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Bo here for my team at Renew Home Exteriors. Now we're introducing new Ascend composite clad siding, featuring a beautiful deep grain look, 20 available colors. Keep that just installed look for a lifetime with this low maintenance siding. Plus, with Renew's price match guarantee, you can be assured you receive the best price for your exterior project even after you buy. Renew Home Exteriors, superior products, superior service. Visit renewestimate.com. Do you have a list of not practicing for me there, Dr. Z? One more.
I do. For the Browns today, not practicing. Quarterback Deshaun Watson, along with Anthony Walker Jr. due to a concussion, Kareem Hunt thigh, Harrison Bryant hip, and Greg Newsome hamstring. But we got Greg Newsome. We gave a thumbs up yesterday too.
I think he was
Top of the food chain.
Yeah, I think he's good. He had it wrapped in here, but top, very very top, big LL.
Yes,
as big as gets. So yeah, the look on. Man, on Watson. I guess we're all in the same boat together here. You just waiting it out.
We are. We're waiting it out. We don't, like I said, we don't have any more information. Perhaps we'll get more light shed on it by Kevin Stefanski when he goes to the podium soon. But I really think for this team, there is still optimism that it will be this week. But you got until he gets out on the practice field, you got to just completely prepare like it's PJ Walker again. And you wonder, at what point you have this one, then Seattle. Seattle's.
I mean, you're talking almost IR by the time this is all done. Could have been IR, yeah.
4 weeks, which would have been Ravens, bye week, Ravens, Niners. If he misses this one, you could have had an IR stint, and then this would have been much less complicated.
Would have been less complicated from the perception
but nobody
standpoint.
Thought. Nobody thought. Everybody thought he was playing against the Ravens.
Yeah,
that's what's wild, and I think that's what gives people the hardest time to wrap their heads around this. Is that everybody in this organization went to sleep on Saturday night prior to the Baltimore Ravens game, expecting to wake up Sunday morning and have Deshaun Watson play quarterback for the team, missing no games, and instead he's missed 2 with a bye week in between, and is still not practicing. Now, we'll find out from Kevin Stefanski if he's thrown it all this week. I'm sure that there have been some upgrades in his regimen and that he is closer than ever. And there is a lot of optimism still, despite the fact that I'm not practicing today. There still is optimism that he will play this week. Will he? We will find out.
Yeah. It's and we've heard all this stuff about bruises and strains and micro tears. They all mean the same thing.
That's right.
It's all the same thing.
There's
variation to it, but those things are all the same things.
Right. That's right.
As I understand
it.
So, I guess, the good news is you saw the difference. While PJ would obviously have some things he'd like to have back in the game on Sunday, you see the difference where somebody is prepared to play on Sunday in an NFL game versus the week before the bye week where you saw someone who very obviously was not. And that isn't a shot at DTR. It's just a fact of he didn't know he was going to start until 11 o'clock on a Sunday in an NFL game.
That's right.
So there was no way that he was going to be ready for that. So now PJ will have all of last week and potentially all of this week, and with Deshaun not practicing today, potentially all of this week to be ready to play on Sunday should his numbers be called. And quite honestly, against this Colts team, I hate to go down this road, but you shouldn't need A-plus level quarterback play.
No, but what you need is cleanliness. You need a game that is clean, that is devoid of giveaways.
Well, we're 3-2 without doing that yet.
Well, I don't like to bet on outliers. I don't like
it to be different.
I'd like it to be different. We are 31st in the NFL in turnover differential at -8. That's got to get cleaned up. Now, this is a Colts team that your defense absolutely can suffocate. This is the NFL, man. You can't take anybody or anything for granted, and if you do, you'll get humbled real quick.
Well, we are also, over the last, you had those stats on us coming off of wins and all of that stuff.
Yes.
We don't have the good stuff in the bank to be acting like anything is entitled.
Correct. No.
So that's not the way that's going to be.
No. That's why you need to be at your best every week. And that's why it's so important, this one in particular. Number one, to shake that stigma of not being able to follow up a win with a win. And number two, give yourself a 2-game cushion over 500. You're going to have to end this season at a minimum to make the playoffs, 1 game over 500. Most likely it's going to have to be 3 games over 500. I think it's 9. Maybe there are scenarios where you get in at 9-8 because this conference is going to beat itself up so much. But it's likely right, that you're going to have to be in this one, it's likely that you're going to have to be 10-7.
Yeah.
So this
for
is an
sure,
important
because-
game to win.
Oh, yeah. When you're sitting at 3-2 and you're looking at the next three of Indy, Seattle, Arizona, you need to win 2 out of the 3.
Yes. And
That's it.
there's no reason
You
why
wanna
you
be
can't win all 3.
For sure, but the minimum requirement is 2 out of the 3.
Yes.
Then you're sitting at 5-3 through the first 8 games of the season, and now you're on that pace for that 10-win mark, which I agree with you. I think that's the minimum requirement of what it's going to need. What was the number last year?
Coach up.
For me.
Coach.
Oh, let's go to the podium. Here's Coach Stefanski.
Have the guys to do it. Offensively,
Guys are down.
I think Gardner Minshew's a winner. He's we've all seen it. He's gone in there and won football games. He's done it for this team. He's a challenge to defend. He can make every throw. He can scramble. And then they have a very good running game, playmakers on the outside, big receivers on the outside, a good offensive line. And then return game is really good. So special teams have to be on point as well. Big challenge with a bunch of the guys that they have. So excited about the opportunity that we get to go on the road and try to find a way to win. Deshaun's not going to practice today. He's, like I told you guys, he's making progress, and we'll continue to treat that day to day. And with that, I'll take any questions.
You're not ruling out Deshaun for Sunday?
Correct.
Throw since the injury?
Yes. Correct. I'm just going to say he's making progress. Yeah, we'll deal with day to day. So we'll update you guys every single day.
Today that it was up to the medical crew whether he would go out and practice today and him. But how is that? When you said though that he was medically cleared to play, but not functionally ready. So how is it? What is the medical staff doing to sway that opinion or whatever?
Yeah, I would just tell you, Jeff, between Deshaun, our medical team, everybody's on the same page. Understand that we're working through this injury. Like I've told you before, we'll continue to be careful and safe and make sure that when he's ready to do his job and he has all of his ability in terms of being able to throw the football, when he's ready for that, we'll have him back out there at practice. But we're going to continue to treat that thing day to day.
And you've worked with quarterbacks over the years. Have you had anybody that's had a rotator cuff injury?
I don't remember. Certainly don't have a medical degree, so I can't tell you specifics on injuries and guys that I've had over the past. But, Deshaun's a warrior. He's fighting through it.
It could be a day, it could be today, tomorrow, weeks from now. He doesn't know. So how difficult is that to kind of manage as a coach when you're trying to get everybody ready?
That's part of football, part of our jobs. You have to be ready to deal with uncertainty. That's the NFL.
They start if Deshaun can.
Yes.
How do you help PJ this week? Obviously he got to take the reps last week, got to start, but what do you do to maybe help him get even more comfortable this week?
Well, he'll get all the reps today, so he has to do what all of our backups have to do. You have to be ready to play, and I think we've all seen it over the course of this season. It can go really up and down our roster, and you rely on your backups when the starter can't go, and I think that's what PJ will be ready to do if called upon.
So much better this year.
Yeah, I think it's, as you can imagine, it's multifaceted when you talk about that. Obviously, it's playing our style of defense. It's some of the guys that we've brought in. Dalvin comes to mind as a really good run defender. Obviously, Z and Obo. But to play any good defense, good offense, run defense, run offense, you have to have 11 guys on the same page doing their job. And I think that's what you see.
What does Dalvin do that has changed the complexion up front for you guys?
He's very disruptive, and he's a very large man. And when that large man is disruptive, it's good for our defense.
How do you think Denzel is playing this year compared to the last, three years?
Yeah, I don't think it's. Yeah, I mean, obviously we know Denzel's a good player. I'm not going to compare him to past years. I tell you, right this minute in the games that we've played, all 5 of them, he's come to compete. We've put him in some tough spots. He's responded every single time. I think he's tackling well, playing the ball well. He's having, he's playing at a high level.
guys feel that Jonathan Taylor goes back into his regular spot this week?
We're ready for that if that's what it is. I think they have multiple guys. Moss is, they can put a bunch of guys in there. Have a ton of respect for Jonathan Taylor, and we do anticipate that his workload increases as the games go on here. But they have multiple guys that can hurt you with the ball in their hand.
Does come back, whenever that's going to be for the games. Does DTR move back to the number 2 quarterback spot, or did you make that decision to elevate PJ into that role?
Yeah, I'm not making many decisions past Wednesday, so we'll see.
Guys that aren't practicing, do you expect those guys to be ready to go Sunday? Kareem, Greg?
It's all different. We'll see how each day goes. I think it's important with all their injuries. They're all in different places, and we'll see how they do.
When Deshaun does get back, are you going to try to keep a leash on him from running as much as he does? How will that play out?
We'll just be smart. That's what we try to do every game with the players that you have. Be smart about what you ask them to do.
What lessons have you learned about, just this whole injury and just the messaging around it and everything that's been involved with it?
Yeah, I understand the question, Mary Kay. I think you really just have to each day go with the information you have and support our guys, and we'll continue to do that. This is, I've said it before, he's trying very badly to get back, and when he's ready to get back, he'll be out there.
Go ahead, Zach, sorry. You see a lot of growth from DeWander, and you're changing him, going from backup to now full-time starter.
Yeah, like a lot of young players, he's getting better. Not to say that it's perfect, and it's not going to be perfect, but I think he's getting better. I think he understands the amount of work that goes into a week to get ready to prepare for some of these edge rushers, and this week's no different. They have really good edge rushers, so you have to be put in the work, and I think he's continuing to learn how to do that as a young player.
From your past, he's so big. There's been very few guys. Is there anyone
we had Bryant McKinney at the Vikings, was a left tackle. We talked a lot about different comps when he was coming out. Certainly when you have a player that size, it makes life harder to get to the quarterback for those ends. It's just a bigger body to go around or through.
The outside, Denzel may overshadow the way that Emerson is playing. If you look at some of his numbers, and they're off the charts right now. What level is he at in just his second season?
I think MJ's a guy that continues to get better because he's a young player, but has always had the right mindset. From day one when he stepped foot on campus, he had the right mindset. And playing that position, you better have that mindset. So he plays physical. He loves the challenge. So excited for where he is. And I think MJ would tell you. I think Coach Lynch would tell you. I think Coach Schwartz would tell you. He will continue to get better.
The 20-yard run that Marquise Goodwin had in the game, could he play the same exact role that Elijah Moore does for you? Those plays?
Yeah, Marquise is a very versatile football player. We'll always explore ways to involve him in the run and the pass. But it really is based on game plan every week in terms of who does what best.
Taylor, what's allowed the Colts to run it as well as they have? They had good games against Baltimore and Tennessee.
Yeah, good run scheme with what Coach Steichen brought with him from Philly. Really good run scheme. I think a good offensive line, physical. They have a good RPO package. Again, that's stuff that Coach Steichen's done over his career. So it makes life hard on the defense. You really have to have a plan when you're defending this type of attack.
To see those RPOs with Minshew?
We do. Yeah, they run their offense. He's done that over the course of his career. He's done a nice job.
About the duo of Jerome and Kareem, especially their development in the run game the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think that both continue to give us good moments and good runs. Kareem had a couple that were not pretty, not sexy, but he put his foot in the ground and put his nose down, and the guys got pushed, and 4 yards later, it's 2nd and 6. And so those were some hard yards, and that's kind of the game. Jerome, the same, and then Jerome, a couple times, whether it was some trap schemes, some perimeter schemes, he got on the move, and you make one guy miss. We know Jerome has some breakaway speed. So I think they complement each other well. We just have to continue, and we will to give those guys the run types, the amount of runs that makes them both hard to handle.
Pulse for the mentality of this team. Can you give us an idea how they can maybe stabilize, not ride too high from a big win or fall too low from a big loss?
Yeah, we talk about that. We don't ride the roller coaster. You don't take a win with you. You don't take a loss with you, win, lose, or draw. We want to be the same team on Wednesday that's focused on the work. And that's the mentality we have. That's the group of people that we have. So this Wednesday practice that I'm about to be late for is the most important practice of our season. One more.
Schwartz warned after the Tennessee game, his guys are getting all kinds of love and came to the Baltimore game. So will it be different this time around? Getting a lot of national pub.
Yeah, I tune it out. We talk about what's important in this profession is what goes on in this building. Obviously we're having success defensively, and we're having success because we're playing sound defense. There's no magic trick to playing good, hard defense, and I think it's a combination of our guys playing the scheme and just playing with relentless effort. That will never change, and those are the type of things that we're telling our guys. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right, there you go. For a team of injury lawyers dedicated to every client every day, call 1-800-ELK Ohio. Elk & Elk's proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. We will meet the Colts coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, second hour, Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Rumpke Waste Recycling, great place to start and build a career. Check out the latest opportunities to join the team that's working together to keep your community clean and green. Learn more at rumpke.com. If you're just joining us, Deshaun Watson will not practice today, nor will tight end Harrison Bryant, running back Kareem Hunt, cornerback Greg Newsome, and linebacker Anthony Walker Jr. Deshaun Watson did address the media earlier today. We will have that for you coming up in about a half hour from now. We just did hear from Coach Stefanski, who is continuing with the company line of we will take it a day by day. That's kind of where we're all at with this thing. And it'll really be, I mean, the simple, straightforward way to think of this, guys, from your guys' perspective is Deshaun Watson will play when he feels like he can. And that's where you're at. And so you're waiting on that. And when he's ready, he'll go. It's a guy historically who, you go back to his time in Houston, played with most tumultuous injuries and drove to Jacksonville to play a game. So there is nothing in his past that would lead you to believe that he would not play if he thought that it was possible. So that's where you're at with him at this point. In the meantime, you get to play the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday. In terms of the Colts, Shane Steichen, your head coach, they are 3-3. Hard to believe, but they are. First-year head coach after leading the Eagles' offensive coordinator last year. The Browns lead the all-time series 18-17, 1-3 in the last four. We last won in 2020 here, 32-23. The last time Jacksonville played out was against Jacksonville, 37-20. That one wasn't as close as that would lead you to believe. Their offense is ranked 10th overall in the league. Their defense is 26th. For more on the breakdown, we turn to Dr. Z.
By the way, Shane Steichen was the Cleveland Browns quality control / quarterbacks coach in 2013 under Rob Chudzinski. Now he is the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts.
Who's your coordinator on that team, 13?
Norv.
That was Norv?
Norval, baby.
Oh, because Chud worked for Norv in Dallas at some point? I
don't remember but Norv was the OC.
So Norv was the OC in 13. Wow. So you went Norv, Kyle. As OCs.
That's right.
Like the coordinator of the 80s.
And 90s, yeah.
90s. And then like the play caller, although Mike is giving him a run for his money now, in Kyle.
Who was also here that same year, 2014.
Good grief.
All right, who they are offensively, we'll start with them on offense. Zach Brandon Moss. Actually cousin of Santana and Cenarise Moss. 466 yards rushing. That, folks, is second in the NFL. He is having a phenomenal season for them. But they just gave Jonathan Taylor 3 years, $42 million. So what are they doing there? Well, so far it's still been Zach Moss. In the 2 games Taylor's been back, Moss, 254 total yards, 38 touches, 3 touchdowns. In the 2 games that Taylor's been back, 20 touches, 99 total yards, no touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor, of course, in 2021 was the best running back in the NFL, over 1,800 yards, 18 touchdowns, led the league that year in rushing yards, rushing touchdowns, scrimmage yards, scrimmage touchdowns, had 10 100-yard games. They reward him with the big contract. We haven't seen it. Maybe this is the week where they put him back in because in the last 2 weeks, Zach Moss has received 2 snaps for every one of his. And by the way, Zach Moss has been elite. Look at this graphic. Way to go.
Look at that.
That looks like a Phelan Ebenhack picture if I have that right. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah. That's strong.
Don't you think?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. There it is. I like that he gets
Moss
the credit
played
there.
at Utah.
He did.
Yeah.
Jacksonville last week didn't do much, 7 carries, 21 yards, but both of the backs are very involved in the passing game last week. Zach Moss in that one, 6 catches for 38. Taylor, 5 for 46. Their quarterback is, of course, Gardner Minshew, 1-1 this year. He is completing 65% of his passes, 882 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 picks, all of which came last week. That was a career-high 3 interceptions in the loss to the Jags. An 81 rating. He does not run. He has 6 rushes for 8 yards on the season. He is 3-11 as a starter in his last 14 games. I'll say that again, 3-11 as a starter in the last 14 games. He's got to get the ball out quick. They are throwing short passes, career low 5.8 air yards per attempt, 7.1 is his career average. And Minshew, you look at it, you make him hold the football, turnover-worthy plays, baby. That's what comes your way. 54% completion when he has to hold it for more than 2.5 seconds, 79 rating, 2 interceptions. When he gets it out quick, 72% completions, 82 rating, and doesn't have as many turnover-worthy plays. Obviously, with every quarterback, you want to get him pressure, but listen to this breakdown I discovered in my preparations today.
Give it to me.
He has thrown 38 passes of more than 10 yards in the air. That's it. He's thrown 99 or fewer yards in the air, including behind the line of scrimmage. On the passes of more than 10 yards in the air, and the reason why I make this comparison is to give you a little context. Here's what Brock Purdy was on passes of 10 yards in the air, and then he played us, which was tough for him. 72%, 15.5 yards per attempt, 158.3 rating, which you know is perfect. On air yards per attempt, 10 yards over the passes of more than 10 yards in the air, Minshew this year, 17 of 38, that's 45%, 9.8 yards per attempt, 1 touchdown, 3 picks, and a terrible rating. On the quick game, he's completing 81%, 5.6 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns, and a 100 rating. He likes to throw it quickly in the middle of the field. That's where he is, inside of 0 to 9 yards, center of the field between the numbers, 32 of 37 for 270 yards. So that's what they're going to have to keep their eye on. Michael Pittman, leading receiver, 40 catches, 406 yards, and a touchdown. He needs 84 for 3,000 in his career. Pittman, of course, big, physical, not fast. Just 10 yards a catch, but he's 6'4", 223. They really don't have a vertical threat right now. Alec Price would probably be the closest thing to it. He did not practice today, but he just has 11 for 149 on the season. Then they've got Josh Downs, their third rounder, who's coming on strong. He's got second on the team, 28 catches, 276 yards, and a touchdown. 2 weeks ago, he had a season high 6 for 97 against Tennessee. Last week, caught his first career touchdown against the Jags, and he's got 5 or more catches in 3 of the last 4. They'll play a bunch of tight ends. Mo Alley Cox, Kylan Granson's actually third on the team in receiving, 16 catches for 170 yards. That's it. Not a great offensive line, especially if Braden Smith's out. Even if he isn't, Braden Smith's not great. Bernard Ryman's not great. The tackles, they've got, left guard Quentin Nelson's there. Joel Bitonio, 5 straight Pro Bowls. And their center, Ryan Kelly, is a 3-time Pro Bowler. He is elite. So that left guard center, that part's good. The right guard, right tackle side is awful. And the Browns should absolutely be able to exploit it. So that's who they are as an offense. And you mentioned kind of some of their rankings there. They are the number 10 overall offense in terms of yards per game. And then you flip it around defensively, they are the number 26 defense. That's not typically what you think of for the Colts, 357 yards per game. They are number 19 against the run, 23 against the pass. This is a team that the Browns absolutely should be able to get after. I mean, this defense is not good. They do not have a ton of talent. And, in fact, right now they are so depleted, they're starting 2 rookies at corner. Juju Brent's their second-rounder. He's given up 68% completion, 102 rating. And then Jalen Jones, their 7th-rounder, started last week. He's given up 75% completions and a 136 rating on the season. They lost starting quarterback Dallas Flowers after week 4. Kenny Moore's been a Pro Bowler. That's their nickel corner, very good against the run as well. The safeties, Rodney Thomas was last year's 7th-round pick. And then Julian Blackmon, a 3rd-round pick from 2020. So they're starting a 7th-rounder at safety, a rookie, a first-year, like a guy in his second season, 7th-rounder at safety, a 7th-rounding rookie at one corner. I mean, we got to be able to throw the ball on this team. Their line took a big hit. They lost their starting nose tackle, but across the front, they've got Kwity Paye, DeForest Buckner, who's a 2-time Pro Bowler, Taven Bryan, who had a career-high 3 sacks with the Browns last year, and then Samson Ebukam, who has been their leading sack getter. He's got 4 so far this season. His career high was only 5 sacks, so he's about to maybe set a career high there for him as well. They go with some waves on the front. Linebackers are where they're really good. Shaquille Leonard, remember Darius Leonard, 3-time Pro Bowler, 4-time All-Pro. He has 4 120 plus tackle seasons. And then they got Zaire Franklin. This guy's in his 6th season, was a 7th-round pick in 2018. He didn't become a starter until last year. 166 tackles, which were 3rd in the NFL, set a franchise record from them. So they have 2 tackling machines in Franklin and Leonard in the middle on the second level, but that's it. This is not a dominant defense. This is not a very good offense. This is a game that the Browns absolutely should win. And for P.J. Walker, spent some time in the Indianapolis organization. If he's the starter going back there, you expect him to do well. If it's Deshaun Watson, Watson at Indy has thrown for more than 300 yards in every single game. Multiple games with 300. He had 2 games with 370 plus and 2 or more touchdowns in Lucas Oil Stadium. So it would be certainly a comfortable place for him. But this is not a talented team. Think about guys like Stephon Gilmore. He's now gone in Dallas. You had Yannick Ngakoue last year, who was a Pro Bowl alternate. He's gone. They don't get after the quarterback very well. They don't defend very well. They don't tackle well. They're not a good defense. And then offensively, they are not explosive at all.
It's pretty amazing they've gotten to 3-3. They beat Houston in week 2. Then they shocked the Ravens at Baltimore.
That
and
was
win
the
at
game.
Baltimore
That was
22-19.
Yep.
Absolutely bonkers game there. The only reason they're not 4-2 is because the Rams came back and beat them in Indy.
Yep.
Is that one? Then they beat the Titans 23-16, and then lost to Jacksonville to close this thing out. So they have 2 losses to Jacksonville, a divisional opponent. They've already played them twice.
Yep.
They're done playing Jacksonville, and we're in week 6 of the season. They also have the news today that Anthony Richardson will miss the remainder of the season. He is having shoulder surgery. They're in a weird spot as a franchise because when you talk about, there's not a whole lot of historical precedent for a rookie quarterback missing his entire rookie season, who, by the way, already had injury concerns in college, and then being some bounce-back guy. I mean, the most recently, you think of Trey Lance. Like, it usually doesn't go well when that happens early.
Yeah.
They are 3-3. They really need to get to the bottom so that they can amplify this roster, because as you just went over it, there isn't a lot of talent. And then they have the most bizarre, one of the most bizarre handlings of a contract situation we've seen in recent years, where
Insane.
it became personal between Jonathan Taylor and ownership, and then he decides it's a non-injury, sit out 4 games. They prove that they really don't need him by the play of Zach Moss.
Yeah, it's great.
They don't need him, and then they bring him back, and then they pay him more than what he was even asking.
And then they still give
More
Zach
than
Moss the
Saquon.
ball.
Right. Zach Moss still getting the ball. They paid him more than the Giants paid Saquon, talking about Jonathan Taylor. I don't understand it.
Me neither. I don't understand it as well.
They should have traded Jonathan Taylor, is what they should have done, to a team that
And
could
what's
have used
the
a running
market?
back.
And what's the
I
market?
don't know.
That's the thing.
But they wanted – what doesn't make any sense is –
I would have rather gotten a 3rd-round pick than pay him $14 million a year.
I wouldn't have paid him $14 million a year either. I think
Yeah.
they were probably the only team that was going to pay him $14 million
Right.
a year. And that they did it, and then they don't play him.
Yep. Yeah, it's wild. And now you see the report today out of Tennessee. Derrick Henry's on the block.
Well, I think I had a
Tajay Spears. We told you about him.
well, and also from the standpoint of like just this, that you could be Hopkins too. I'm guessing you'll start to see a lot of that type of stuff as it starts to happen.
Yeah.
Where for years the NFL trade deadline was much ado about nothing. That's not the case anymore.
No.
You're going to see a lot of movement.
Yeah.
Too bad you don't have a light.
Be great if you had a light and you knew when you were on the air.
So.
Halloween night.
By the way, we're out at B-Dubs yesterday. Guys, come up. Can we get an on-air light for these guys?
Yeah, did you miss that? We talked about it on the show.
I know we
pretty good.
did.
24.
I know. I'm
You
just
wanted-
reminding
for the new audience. The new audience.
24 hours late. How about you be better?
Remember, Gibby, our
We
P1s,
talked about it on the show yesterday. I was there. I'm referencing it again because it's clear that not only would
Yeah,
we
I
benefit
mean,
from
you
it,
just
you
gotta
would,
use
because
it a
you're
little bit
currently
better.
the number one
You are the number one faulter. There's no question.
infractor.
Yeah, for sure.
word?
Our P1s.
I don't know. You be better.
Gibby, our P1s are it's 15 minutes at a time, baby. You know that.
Yes.
You know those P1s.
Maybe he's new to radio. Be better.
So when we do a 27-minute per segment,
great.
I'm not quite sure what
Not
that
great.
means.
That's not great for the P1s. They don't love that. Yeah. No, it's a weird spot. If you think back to everything that worked for them, like all of the goodwill that worked to them from Manning to Luck, since Luck, it's fallen off a cliff. And no one's going to feel sorry for them because they had Manning and Luck.
Yep.
But they were set up for what you thought was going to be like a Packers run where you go Favre, Rodgers over 30 years. That's what it was set up for. But now they've been chasing this quarterback situation, and now it's going to be a chase that's very likely going to continue. All right, we will attempt, actually Dr. Z will attempt to guess the spread. That is coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet, sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns, and live in Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Browns fans, visit your local Tide Cleaners during the month of October for a chance to win tickets to an upcoming Browns home game. You'll be automatically entered to win with any purchase. I should also remind you to join Z and Gerard at Slim and Chubby's in Strongsville. That is Thursday night, 7 to 8, Kevin Stefanski Show. Elijah Moore is going to join the crew. He'll be signing autographs. It's brought to you by Bud Light. Easy to Sunday and easy to enjoy. That is a good name for a bar.
Yeah, it is.
I've never been. I don't know that I've been there, but that's
They
good.
do a fantastic job. There's a reason that place is as successful as it is.
Yeah, I like that. I think
a staple in Strongsville.
That is a great name. I bet my brother-in-law Brent Miller is someone who would know that place very, very well. He's a big Strongsville guy. Played for the Ponies back in the day. Slung around a little bit. Yeah. All right, here we go. You ready?
Yes.
What is your record? You're like, do you even have one losing? You have one losing record.
One. Yeah.
One
5
losing
and 1
week. 5-1.
Trying for 2 here today.
All right, here we go. Let's start with Thursday night. We are looking for Jacksonville at New Orleans. Jacksonville at New Orleans.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Given the uncertainty
I
around
don't know how to
Trevor
answer that
Lawrence,
because
like,
I don't
does
know.
it feel like that's being accounted for?
I think for me, I think that it does, but I also would say that I don't. I mean, I'm leading you now.
Thursday's a wacky day.
It is, and I also think that they don't get New Orleans right a lot. So yes, it looks like that to me.
Saints -1.
So nailed it. So I think I led you too much there.
No, you led me perfectly.
Yeah, I led you right to victory.
See, I feel like we got to get your spirits up a little bit.
That needed to be the reason I asked it. If Lawrence is playing, the Jags are favored by 3.
I don't know that they are because they've done this with the Saints almost every week, where their lines.
I think they are.
Last
what do you
week
mean with
they
my
did
spirits? What's wrong with my spirits?
I don't know.
Last
I feel
week
like
they
you
did it
got a little
with Houston. I know he's worried. He's got a lot of phone things he's worrying with today. He's constantly on this phone. He's like my kid.
People
You're like we're working now.
I am working.
This is what I have to do with the kids.
Yeah.
Like we're working.
Leave
now.
me alone, Jimmy.
You got to stop it.
Yeah.
All right, here you go. Who's Jimmy?
Jimmy Bang Bang.
Oh, forget you're texting Jimmy Bang Bang on the show.
No, I'm not.
It's 1 to
over.
3.
I didn't text him. I looked at it.
Bang Bang after 3.
Yeah, after 3.
After 3, he'll text you all you want.
You want.
He'll probably even call you.
Maybe.
We need traveling music, don't we? I want some traveling music. If
Mr.
you Climax
Climax,
has some, that'd be
if you
great.
don't mind.
Be very wonderful. Browns at Colts.
Browns -2.5.
On it exactly. Good traveling music too here. Raiders at Bears. Raiders at Bears.
That's a garbage game.
That's the worst game of the week because nobody knows who's playing quarterback. The one guy's the kid who played at like a Division 7 school.
Yeah, the Bears can't be favored with that guy. He's playing.
But
Raiders.
Raiders are going to have Hoyer, I guess. Or
They're
they'll
not
go
starting O'Connell?
I would think you'd play O'Connell to see what he's all about.
McDaniel's uncommitted.
Raiders -2.5.
Got it. Raiders -3.
Okay, 3-0.
Yep.
Magic number's 4.
Bills at Patriots. Bills at Patriots.
Bills -10.
Bills -8.5.
Dang it.
The Bills
They're
lines
still
are
giving
usually
love to the Patriots.
Yeah, the Bills line is usually. But look, they won by 6 this week.
Yeah, they were
against a trash
14
team.
and a
They were
half
14.5
and
point
scored
favorites.
14.
Gross. Commies at Giants. By the way, they are going to change that name, right? I mean,
They have to. It's terrible.
Clearly, they're getting rid of that ridiculous name and all the branding behind it. Just burn it. Burn it.
Commies -2.5.
Got it. Commies -2. Got it.
All right.
Falcons at Bucks. Falcons at Buccaneers.
Tampa -3.
Got it. Tampa -2.5. You're in the sweet spot here. Leos at Ravens.
Great game.
Leos at Ravens.
Ravens -2.5.
Ravens -3.
6-1. Take that, Gibby.
Steelers at Just Ram It. Steelers at Just Ram It.
Rams -4.
No. Rams -3.
Spoke too soon there.
He's still going to cruise to a win. We
No,
only
I
have
need one
13.
more.
He's-
I
yeah,
still
he's
got to get
gonna-
one more.
Yeah, I know he's going to.
Cruise
but I
to
just
a
find it
dub.
funny
We-
that
we
he
have to make
talked
it-
some trash and immediately went in the trash.
You find that to be that? Let me
It
ask
was
you
off
something.
by a point.
Cardinals at Seattle. Cardinals at Seahawks.
Seattle minus 7.5.
On it. Seattle minus 8.
Okay, I got to
Ooh,
ask.
that was a big half there.
What goes into that number? Because I would have not been able to come up with that. Why did you come up with that number? Because I looked at that
he's
game
on
and
his
I'm
phone
like,
looking at the lines.
ugh.
I think he's cheating now.
Yeah,
That's what's happening.
That's exactly right.
The whole time you were
I
looking
thought they were
at
a touchdown favorite, and then I figured if it wasn't going to be under 7, so I didn't have to do 6.5 or 7 on the number. So I figured I'd give myself 7 to 8. So I went 7.5.
Okay, I'm just asking.
Nailed it,
I'm
yeah.
like,
That's
I
the
saw that
logic.
game and I'm like, I have no idea.
The Cardinals aren't getting they were 10 to the Niners. So I don't know. That's what it felt.
The Seahawks are kind of like, follow my logic on this. They're a little bit like the the Vikings when they were healthy with Cousins. Like, there's certain things they can win, and then there's a lot they can't.
Sure.
And there's no way that, as long as this is the operation, there's no attaining the big goal is never possible. And so you say to yourself, well, what are we doing? Like, this is fun. We have to win. Not everybody gets to win the Super Bowl. Not everybody gets to go play in an NFC championship game. They're not going to do those things. They'll fall short of that. But they're a really nice team.
Yes.
And there's also
and they're fun.
There is.
Although
but there's
Jackson
also
Smith
no,
and Jigba's put him on a milk carton.
Well, I'm not watching every game, so I'm not sure what's happening there or not. But statistically, he's not doing a whole lot.
And he's like at
which
the
is
bottom of the
strange.
league in yards per route run.
Yeah, it's strange. I don't know. Packers at. I also think can we also start to qualify you as known Buckeye hater?
No.
It feels like we get a Jackson Smith and Jig update every week from you.
That's much more about him being on many of my fantasy teams because all of my known Buckeye lovers told me that this guy's the best receiver.
He was great.
You can't miss. He's better than Wilson and Olave.
It's great. I don't know what the hell's going on there. But I'm not watching every day, so I'm not sure.
Me neither.
Packers at Broncos.
How could you even say that? I'm a big Garrett Wilson guy. C.J. Stroud.
I just wanted it in the atmosphere.
Outrageous. You're going to get S all riled up. He's not going to sleep for weeks.
Or
now.
S.
All right. Who? What?
Packers at Broncos.
I really just wanted to get you off your game.
It doesn't matter. I've already won. I don't care if I miss the next 4. Packers at Broncos. Packers minus 2.
Packers minus 1. Chargers at Chiefs.
3.
Chargers at
Dan
Chiefs.
Romo, baby.
They finally got a game.
They did.
Chiefs minus 5.
Chiefs minus 5.5.
How about that, Gibby?
That's a good get out of you.
That's a good job.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
Vegas zone.
Most people, this tells you the real truth, by the way, about the Chargers, because the Chiefs aren't playing lights out. This is a reflection of what they actually are versus what we think they should be based on their talent.
Yeah.
Because this should be Chiefs 3 based on talent.
Yeah.
But it's Dolphins, Eagles. Dolphins
Good
at
Sunday
Eagles.
night football.
Where?
You want to wait up all day
Philly.
for this one.
In Philly, Dolphins at Eagles. Now, I would have thought the Dolphins should have been favored at the Bills. They were not, and the Bills smoked them.
Mm-hmm. One of the criticisms of Miami is they have not played anybody.
The Eagles will
That is
be.
the pushback.
The Eagles are going to be favored, even coming off of the loss. And then this feels like that bodes bad for the Dolphins again. I'm going to say Eagles minus 2.5.
Eagles minus 2.
Got it.
Got it.
Yeah.
You only gotten 2 wrong?
Give me a gut.
Yeah, no, he's
9 and 3.
He's 9 and 3 at the moment. And we'll close out with the team of your youth, the San Francisco 49ers at Minnesota.
Ugh. Monday Night Football. Garbage.
It's not great.
Niners minus 9.5.
No, Niners minus 7.
That was too.
That's a tricky one.
All right.
It's a little
9
bit
and
of a
4.
tricky one.
Another winner. We're at a half point, baby. 6 and 1.
Yeah, you've got it down. You're in the sweet spot with them. You got them sorted out. All right, very good.
Despite hate and fallacious accusations.
I don't know. I just was curious. I thought we could put it out into the
Sounds like
atmosphere.
there's some Ohio State crime going on.
Feels like you're going at the Bucks on a big week. It's Penn State week. Can't have this.
I know all the
It's
press
be
conferences
united.
were on while we were at B-Dubs
Speaking
yesterday.
of that, like, we are scheduled to take off arguably in the third or fourth quarter of that game. Desperately trying to find out from our travel gurus if there will be an ability to watch the game on said play.
I think it'll be a
Not sure.
four-quarter game. I think it'll be 4 quarters. They're actually very similar. They both have first-year quarterbacks. Drew Aller, the kid out of Medina, who's quarterback in Penn State, doing a very, very fine job. But everything is underneath right now. They don't throw anything up top. Neither team has been that explosive. It's a shame it's a noon game, quite honestly.
That should be a night game.
I've seen your posts. The AD saying we need you in early
Yeah,
and be
sucks.
loud. No, that wouldn't be a problem if it were a night game.
No, it would not. It would not be a
Lubed
problem.
up and ready.
They stumbled into an incredible tradition of that game being played either there or in Columbus at night around Halloween. There was something perfect about it. And the idea that, and I know we all know why, television, you took the money, and Fox, for their part, was very smart with Big Noon Kick. But the hit that it takes to the on-field atmosphere is enormous.
Is the thought that they will get more viewers at noon than going head-to-head with somebody at 8?
Yeah, but it's really more that no one was doing noon. Noon was other than like Texas, Oklahoma, there were a couple of games, Ohio State, Michigan, that are traditionally noon games. Everybody else punted on noon. All the networks punted on noons, the conference punted on noons.
You want the 3:30.
So it was 3:30 and 8 o'clock were the two windows where the biggest games were played. Fox gets into college football, and they said, nobody's playing big games at noon. I wonder if we play big games at noon, and then we happen to have a partnership with Ohio State, which is as big a brand as anybody in the country. Now, all of a sudden, we can play at noon. We'll play unobstructed. We'll do a pregame show that leads into it.
Yeah.
Now, all of a sudden, I mean, it's brilliant for Fox. The shame is that the Big Ten, and most especially Ohio State, which de facto runs the Big Ten, doesn't come in and say, actually, this one you can't have.
No.
This one's going at night. And that's
Have they ever played Ohio State, Michigan at night?
No, they played at 3:30 in 2006.
Was that the year when they were like 1-2?
1-2. Yeah.
Chad Henne? Was that Chad Henne?
Yeah, yep. And Troy Smith.
I remember that. That was in the afternoon because I was at a wedding in New York and I watched it in the hotel. I remember that.
Yeah, that was the 3:30. Everything else, it's noon.
We were live at Eddie George's.
There you go.
In Columbus.
There you go.
That was an unbelievable day. Eddie
Doesn't
George
exist
walked in,
anymore.
Bought the entire bar a round of shots, hung out with us.
God bless.
I was like, what is going on?
So
This
cool.
Who bought the entire bar?
Eddie
George.
Well, maybe that's why. That's why it doesn't exist anymore.
No, that could be. Yeah, you can't be buying rounds. You make a habit out of that.
No.
No, and then the Big Ten doesn't play night games in November historically, although they are now because they took all the money. So that's why you'll have Michigan State, Ohio State at night. And you'll have, I think, Michigan State, Penn State's at night on Thanksgiving Friday up in Detroit. They're trying to make that something, which to me is a bit of a failure. All right, reminders, Ian Gerard, Slim and Chubby, Strongsville, Thursday night, 7 to 8, Kevin Stefanski Show. Elijah Moore will join the crew, sign some autographs. It's brought to you by Bud Light. Easy to Sunday, easy to enjoy. Deshaun Watson's podium appearance coming up next. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Game plan for this season includes buying or selling a home. Howard Hanna has the answer, delivering a winning strategy for breaking down the game of real estate. As the market leaders in Northeast Ohio, more buyers and sellers trust Howard Hanna to be their winning home team. Visit howardhanna.com/go Browns today. And now let's head to the podium and Deshaun Watson.
You're done.
We'll see, day to day.
You going to try to practice today?
It just depends on the medical staff. So we're out there, this media stuff and go through our treatment stuff. We'll see what today goes.
Do you think there's a chance you could play on Sunday?
I think so. It just depends on, the process of, the medical stuff and the treatment and the rehab that we're doing day to day. So, it's up in there for sure.
What's the last hurdle?
It's really just finishing up. Me, I'm learning through this whole process. So honestly, it's just, with the rotator cuff, it's a difficult thing with, throwing a ball and, doing, just the movement and rotation and mobility stuff. So just trying to clean up any lingering pain and any lingering, stuff that's, in that rotator cuff.
Did the injury affect you in the game? I know you didn't finish the game, but we thought that was because of the scoreboard. So what happened to make it a 2.5-week injury?
Well, we didn't know what it was during the game. The injury, we felt it, during the game, but, at the time my adrenaline going and everything's kind of flowing. So, certain throws was kind of easier. I just kind of dealt with it. It was a couple throws where I felt it, but we didn't know exactly what it was.
Deshaun, we saw you before throwing before the Baltimore game. There was a little zip at all on those passes. So how's your throwing progressed since then?
It's coming along. It's definitely been the arrow's been trending up. So each and every day we've just been trying to get better and better and try to get as comfortable as possible.
Was this a slow diagnosis? Because you were hoping to play that Ravens game and you couldn't, and it just seemed like that there was a process here to figure out what was going on and the severity and how long you'd have to rest it and stuff like that.
Yeah, we didn't figure it out until that Saturday, the day before the Ravens game. So, all week it was just swelling, bruise, and then once the swelling can go down, that's when we got the MRI and where I came back and we found out Saturday evening, it was a rotator cuff. And usually you sit out, but, I told, the people, the medical staff as a whole that, we'll see what happens, Sunday morning and let's try to get there early and work out. And we did that and, we couldn't go.
Are you concerned that this is going to linger at all this year, that's going to affect your passing through the season, or do you think that you'll be 100% at some point this year?
I'm not sure. This is my first time dealing with a rotator cuff, so I'm just trying to get as comfortable as I possibly can to go out there and perform at the level I know I can. And if I can't, then we just got to continue to take it day to day. I'm not going to put the team in jeopardy if I can't do certain things that is going to allow us to be handicapped in certain situations. So that's the reason why I haven't been able to step on the field.
Do you know what play it happened on?
It was the
Arden Key play?
No, it wasn't that one. It was a play on the goal line. It was right before Jerome scored.
So I was told that you won't be out there until you're pain-free and until you can throw normally. So is that where the bar is set for you? Are you really going to kind of try to adhere to that and really make sure that you don't feel any discomfort in the shoulder before you play?
No, it's not so much of the pain. It's mostly if I can throw the football. The pain, I can deal with certain pain, tolerance, but if I can't control the football, I can't throw the football with no velocity. If I can't throw the football more than a certain, amount of yards, then, like I said before, then I don't want to handicap the team because, then I can't get the ball downfield and, I can't get the ball outside the numbers and things like that. So, like I said, that was, a couple weeks ago, but, the progress and the arrow is definitely upward and, we just going to continue to just attack it each and every day.
How much were you 100% throws yet?
How about what?
Made any 100% velocity throws yet?
It's just been going day to day, just every day. We've been, taking steps and, making sure we don't do anything for any, setbacks in that throwing shoulder. So, whatever the medical staff and the team is allowing me to do, there's a process in place and there's a plan, and we've been following that.
How much have you been able to throw over the last week?
You said what?
How much have you been able to throw over the last week?
We've been trying to just nick at it each and every day. We got to take some days off because you can't do too much from, what I've experienced and what I've, known from the medical staff. It's a tricky deal. So, you got to kind of take that baseball approach, and talk to some people that deals with rotator cuffs, more often. So that's what we've been doing and just really trying to strengthen that muscle and everything around it so we can get back comfortable.
Are you feel comfortable that once you do get back out there that there's no risk of further damaging it?
Not that I know of. They haven't mentioned that part to me, so I'm not going to be thinking about that. And that's another thing. I don't want to get out there and be hesitant throwing the ball or anything like that. So, I'm not going to put myself, first in this situation. I'm going to put the team first.
Is there any kind of
situation right now is, PJ going out there and performing like he did Sunday to help his team win.
Did you get a second opinion from outside the club?
Yeah, we all was on the same page, and from the front office to the head coaching staff to the medical staff. So, and anybody else that that's on my team outside the building, we all communicated and talked and got on the same page.
Is there any kind of tear in that rotator cuff?
No, I haven't seen anything or heard anything.
When you say it like that, so you've had MRIs, everything, no tears, just a bruise.
It's a strain. So strain is micro. It's a micro tear. So it's like small. It's basically like getting a cut on the hand, like a couple of slashes on the hand of that muscle, and that's what a micro tear strain for the rotator cuff.
A micro tear, you're saying?
Deshaun, injuries are going to happen, but this is another stoppage for you, another layoff for you. How frustrating is that?
I mean, it's definitely frustrating. I want to be on the field. We felt like after the Tennessee game we were getting the ground running for this offense, and then as all three phases. But it's part of the game. It comes with it. I got to deal with the adversity and just take it as it comes, and continue to be a leader as I am, and keep helping the guys around me. And when that time comes, I can step on the field and go out there and help the team win.
So you have those micro tears, when it's a strain. Is there any risk that a small tear could become a partial tear, which would require then surgery and you'd be lost for the season? Is that part of your thinking process, that something like that could possibly happen?
Not that I know of. They said it wasn't anything worse than a strained rotator cuff. So I'm not, thinking about that, and I'm just following the steps, the medical protocols that they want me to follow, and hopefully everything is, when I step on the field, everything goes pretty smooth.
Is it fair to say that you could be back on Sunday if it all goes well, or it could be, say, another month if the recovery just continues to be a little bit slower? Is that a fair way to look at this?
Yeah, I mean, it can be any day. It can be tomorrow, it can be Sunday, it can be 2 weeks from now. I'm not even sure. I'm just, like I said, it's day to day, and I'm following, the steps of the medical team. And, when that time is ready, then I'm going to go out there. I can't put a timeline on anything right now.
Did they give you a timeline? I mean, because typically you go for exams, they look at you, they find whatever, and they say, hey, it's going to take you a week or 2 to 4 weeks. Did they give you any type of timeline besides a day to day?
Nah, I mean, it's just really just day to day. It just kind of when it heals on its own, and I think that's the tricky part about it. It's one of those deals where it's no different than a sprinter having a hamstring. It's just one of those deals where it's day to day. When it heals, it heals. From the research I've been doing and talking with the staff, I guess rotator cuffs are usually 4 to 6 weeks. I'm not sure. Like I said, it's my first time dealing with it, so I'm just making sure I want to do it right so I don't have any problems later on.
Is it all from that hit, or is it just the wear and tear of being a quarterback for all those hours?
No, it was that hit. It was one of the hits where I just, cut back, he flashed, he got up underneath me, right in that rotator cuff, and, I instantly felt it, but, at that time, I thought it was just, just a regular football hit, and I finished the game, and, we reviewed it, and we went through the week of, trying to treat it, and got the MRI Saturday once the swelling went down, and and that's when we found out.
Deshaun, there haven't been too many quarterbacks that, trying to do some research. I haven't seen too many quarterbacks with rotator cuff injuries. I saw Drew Brees had one. Have you talked to any other NFL quarterbacks that have dealt with this?
No, ma'am. I was same boat as you. I was trying to figure out, on top of my head, who's dealt with a rotator cuff, maybe AC joints, but I dealt with the AC joint, and you can numb up the AC joint like I did in college, but you can't numb up the muscle, the rotator cuff to get that control. So, I've seen people, around talking about that, go out there and play. I mean, if I can't control the ball, then I can't throw it, and it's no benefit of me being out there. So, those are two totally different injuries. But maybe Drew Brees, that's the only one a couple years ago. So.
Hey, because it happened on a designed run, when you get back out there, do you think you'll have to change your style or protect yourself differently?
I don't want to, but I definitely got to make sure I just, if I can, protect myself, I try to turn my back. That's how he caught me. Instead of running
2 minutes
with him, I try to turn, and he just caught me right on that backside. But I don't want to change the way I play because that's the success I've had. So I just got to make sure I just try to protect myself as best as I can.
Even though your day-to-day, you go
Last one here.
preparing to start, and if so, just what type of challenges that Colts defense present you, what you have to worry about?
Yeah, I mean, every week since I've been out, I'm preparing myself to start. I do the same stuff I've been doing each and every week. I don't try to do anything different. A little extra time on the treatment side, but outside of that, I'm always preparing like I'm gonna play. And then any opposite presents from I'm used to that team. I know it's a different defensive coordinator, but just playing in Indy is difficult. The crowd's gonna be in.
1 minute.
Great turnovers. The defense is very. They feed off the energy of that stadium, and it's a great place to play, great environment. So, they're led by that linebacker group and up front, and I know they're young in the secondary, but those guys are going to come, and be ready for the challenge. So, we got to make sure we're ready.
Deshaun, can I squeeze one more in? Was it upsetting to you that so many people questioned, kind of like your toughness, or whether you just decided you didn't want to play against the Ravens? It seemed like there was just so much of that stuff.
30.
I mean, yeah, of course. I've never been the type of guy that's been questioned about my toughness, but I guess, whatever they want to put out, then everyone's entitled to their own opinions. As long as this locker room and this organization know who I am and what I'm dealing with, big folk, then that's all that matters. All the outside
10.
stuff is just, they're feeding off of what is said on social media, and all that stuff isn't real. So, what is real is in this locker room and on this team.
You're up.
The thing that sucks about there are a great many things that are great about being a professional athlete, and it certainly outweighs the negatives. But the one thing he said at the end there, where he said social media isn't real, it's not unless you let it be.
Right.
And as an athlete, and we've seen, we use the Durant line all the time, where he had a burner account to defend himself. He's the best scorer. Either of us have the most unguardable player I've ever seen in the NBA as a 7-footer who shoots like Steph Curry, and he's on social media defending himself. So we saw it with Bake, they are in their phones and they're seeing this stuff. And so you can say it's not real, but if you read it, it is. And it affects your mental state.
If it affects you,
but I think
it's real.
It's rare that you find somebody who it doesn't.
Yeah. No, there's no doubt. I mean, even in any line of work that you do that is public, or certainly in the sports business, you got to be careful with what you read. You're not going to please everybody, that's for sure. And for the athletes, but that is their life. That is their it's their brand. They're raised
that way. Yeah.
They're putting their lives out on social media. They're often cases going to get compensated for doing so, and that's
the thing. It's the way that they've grew up that way. They grew up with it. Our generation didn't. We were fully formed when we had it.
We didn't even have cell phones.
No, of course not. My kids asked me that. When's the first time you had a cell phone? I said college.
College.
It was the first time I had a cell phone.
Yeah.
That was it. But he was,
it was
Zach Morris, brother.
It was not a cell phone like they think. You could literally, all you could do is call
people. You couldn't even text.
No.
It wasn't until down the road. No. Yeah, thank God.
When I was in high school, dude, I had a beeper.
That same, yeah. It's like the wire.
Yeah, I had a beeper.
Yeah, that's true. You did. But the point is these guys are they are idolized from the time they're young. They're
Yes.
identified young. They're
Yes.
idolized young. Then all of a sudden, when it turns, sometimes they don't know how to act. The best example of this is LeBron when he first went to Miami. He did not know how to act without adulation.
The villain, right.
Was not something he was comfortable with in any way. And that first offseason after those finals where the Dallas Mavericks had J.J. Barea guarding him, everything changed around his messaging. All of it changed. And it was to try to find a sympathetic view towards him. And so no matter how big you are, it can be tough to hear that stuff. And that's the reality of that circumstance. Pet Supply, go ahead, Gibbe.
By the way, Joe Bitonio is at practice
That's
today
right.
as expected. So a bit of good news.
That is very good news. Pet Supplies Plus giving you a chance to win tickets to home games all season while providing the best deals for your pet at over 75 stores throughout Ohio. Enter to win at clevelandbrowns.com/Pet Supplies Plus. Receive a coupon to use at your local store with your entry. Pet Supplies Plus, proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. So much more to come. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Join Ken and Gerard tonight, 7 to 8, Browns preview show all along the University Hospital's Cleveland Browns radio network. Obo and Andrew Siciliano are going to join the show to preview the Browns and the Colts. Is it Andrew on the call this weekend with you?
Yep, it'll be Andrew Siciliano again this weekend in Indianapolis.
Okay, very good, very good. He did a great job.
He did. It was fun working with
that
him.
was fun.
I obviously can't wait to get Jim back, but I've been very lucky to have Chris Rose, who was awesome, and then Andrew's been awesome, and it's been really great.
Do you guys, are either of you guys scary movie guys?
Not particularly.
Absolutely not. I hate them.
No, not
So
particularly.
someone asked me this morning about, it was like some sort of a death match between like Freddy Krueger and Mike Myers and Predator and Alien and all of this, and you could have one to protect you from all the rest of them.
Okay.
And I went Predator in part because it feels like he's impossible to defeat. I mean,
And he can disappear. He can be invisible.
disappear. He's invisible. That feels like a pretty big win. And also because while I'm aware of all the rest of them, I wasn't even aware of their powers. I've never seen any of those movies.
I don't know about and this guy's not human. I'll take.
Yeah, give me that guy.
Give me that guy.
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
No, I've never
I mean,
seen
the Terminator,
Halloween.
was
I've never
Terminator
seen,
involved?
Terminator was not involved.
No. Like Michael Myers and Jason and Freddy
those
Krueger?
guys. Yeah, I don't know. I've never seen any of those movies.
Give me the Predator. I'm with you.
All right. Gibby, you either?
I do not. When like a preview comes on of like the newest one, I'm like, nope.
Not for me. Not for
Nope.
me.
No, thank you.
All right. Next Level's coming up next. We're back tomorrow. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.
You're down.